I have been informed that my announcement has been deemed disrespectful.
Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest of all time!
Seth Rollins, I'm coming for you, boy. I'm coming hard.
I am a visionary! I am a revolutionary!
The never seen 17!
Look at you now, boy! Ah. Look at you now! 4 letters, 1 word.
Last real champion, John Cena!
Welcome to another episode of Rasslin with Ryan, everybody. Or Rasslin with Ryan and Mike, sorry.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Sorry.
look at this guy.
Sorry, slipped my mind there for a second. Well, because of the shirt, that's my name. This is before you renamed it, so.
That's very true.
Yeah,
That just tells me I need to make more shirts, make new shirts.
Yeah. So another episode of Rasslin with Ryan and Mike. We know it's been about a week and a half since we last did an episode, but we're back now. Been a busy weekend for me, so.
Congratulations are in order to Ryan for graduating, successfully graduating from San Diego State University. His jersey will hang right there with Kawhi Leonard.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
You know, because everybody's asking me, like, oh, how do you feel? I'm like, ask me after I walk the stage, and now that I have walked the stage, it's crazy that it's like, I actually did it, like, you know, after, like literally when I sat down, I was just like, because I'll watch the language, I was like, oh, shoot, I actually did it, like, what the freak, I actually did it.
You know, and I got to give credit to you. You know, you did a "You Can't See Me" on the stage. You walked
And
with your.
I told you, yeah, I did the heel Cena. I got the towel. I walked with it, and then I put it up at you guys, and I did this,
Yep.
and I did this into the camera, and you're like, oh, you better do it, and I was just like, is it really my graduation if I don't do anything John Cena related?
Exactly. I was fully expecting you to do the full like Cena when he's running the ropes, and then doing that with both arms. But anyways, what's been going on in the world of WWE wrestling
And AEW wrestling?
AEW.
Don't leave them out.
Well, we're not leaving them out.
I know. I want to leave them out, but
Why do you want
branding out?
I don't understand why you want to leave the more exciting company, the company that has better television.
Well,
more exciting wrestling.
Not as of late.
What do you mean not as of late? They're exactly.
They're struggling, but they're struggling with ticket sales.
That doesn't mean shit. WWE struggles with ticket sales too. The AEW for all of this year and the better part of 2025 has consistently been better than WWE. And right now, it is no question that AEW is the by far the superior product in terms of wrestling, storytelling, and programming. It doesn't compare. Their pay-per-view coming up, Double or Nothing, which will feature in the main event MJF taking on Darby Allin, hair versus title.
And we all know MJF's winning because we all know he's not losing his hair.
Is by far more exciting than anything WWE has coming up with Clash of Italy.
I'm excited to hear the crowd for Clash in Italy, though.
Well, the crowd can only do its part in terms of a shitty product.
It's a solid card right now for Clash in Italy when you really look at it and think about it. It's a solid card.
We could run it down. We could look at it, But brief us on what's been going on Raw and SmackDown to take us to Clash of Italy.
Yeah, so on SmackDown, we saw Gunther, who at the moment still isn't a SmackDown superstar because he technically still hasn't signed his contract.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw him telling Cody Rhodes, like, oh, I don't think you really mean sorry. So until you say it, I'm not going to sign it. And then we had Royce Keys come out and is like, well, if you're not going to sign it, then I will. Which I know is like, oh, come on, Royce Keys. But I thought it was like an interesting little twist in the story.
Mm.
just to say like, oh, look, here's a guy that literally went out of his way to like get a contract, and then he's still scared to sign it, so somebody else is jumping the line. So I thought it was just a unique little twist. And then, of course, we got Royce Keys versus Gunther in the main event. Gunther won, so we're getting Gunther versus Cody at Clash in Italy for the WWE Championship, which I think will be a great match because they've had a one-on-one match before, when they were both champions,
Mm. Yeah.
and I think that was a great match. So I think this has potential to be another great match, especially because this is only going to be their second one-on-one match.
They had a great match. What was it at the King of the Ring 2 years ago?
The King, no, it was no Crown Jewel because remember they
Crown
had the Crown
Jewel.
Jewel because they were both the champions.
Right.
Gunther was world champion, Cody was WWE champion, and that's when
Yeah.
they were doing champion versus champion, and that match was great. So hopefully this match will you know, be able to, be like that or possibly even better.
Right.
So, and honestly, like, because I know I said I'm not a fan of either guy, and this is a case where like I do want Cody, but at the same time, like, I would not be surprised if they gave it to Gunther.
Right. Right.
I honestly, I think this match is 50-50.
I think it's in terms of shaking up SmackDown, if you wanted to shake it up for the summer on SmackDown, because SmackDown desperately needs something new and invigorating for that show. They did it at the beginning of the year with Drew McIntyre being champion for what, 4 or 5 weeks, but it wasn't long enough.
The one thing I would find interesting that since you speak of Drew McIntyre is what if you have Gunther, being the heel, Cody, loses or Cody takes time off and then Drew comes back, but then Drew comes back as a babyface.
Hmm.
And we get babyface Drew and heel Gunther, which I know we've seen it before, but we haven't seen it for a world championship.
Right. Yeah, that would be something. That'd be
And I
something.
mean, when they had their matches, they were great. I know you had Sheamus at WrestleMania 39 as well, but they had a couple one-on-one matches, and those matches are great. And I know Drew's been doing some of his best work as a heel, but I wouldn't be mad if we get a Drew McIntyre babyface run again.
The only thing is that if Drew McIntyre is going to be challenging Gunther, if Gunther were to win the WWE Championship,
Then Gunther can't lose.
yeah, Gunther's not going to lose, and that's going to be a loss for Drew McIntyre. So I don't know if they want a guy that's previously held the title that down the peg,
I
if you
mean,
will.
another thing I could see, which I think it'd be kind of a demotion, but it would be kind of an interesting thing, is maybe Drew goes after the U.S. title because that's the only title he hasn't won yet. When you think about it,
Hmm.
I'm not saying he's going to, but that's another interesting thing you can look at too.
Right, right, yeah. But altogether, SmackDown needs something because it has gotten to a point where it's unwatchable with the Gingerbread Man stuff.
Yes, Danhausen is the saving grace of SmackDown right now.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Danhausen, my
And,
gosh.
and shout out to Danhausen. He cursed the Cavs who blew a 22-point lead last night.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Danhausen, so he cursed the Knicks. The Knicks were losing before, when he cursed them, and then he uncursed them. Now the Knicks have not lost in the playoffs
Since
since then. And so now last night the Knicks were losing badly to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals game 1. And I was like I texted you something about Danhausen cursing
the
the
Knicks.
Knicks.
And I said no, he cursed the Cavs. And you're like, You're like, have you seen the score?
Yeah, they're up by 22 in the fourth quarter with like 8 minutes remaining.
And then 10 minutes later, you're just like, oh, never mind. He did curse the Cavs.
Exactly, just complete one of the worst meltdowns in NBA playoffs history. But we're not. This is not the LA Sports Roundup, which you can find. Coming up here. We just recorded an LA Sports Roundup, so as you're listening to this, you can go ahead and find that
Yeah,
as well.
but also keeping it on Danhausen. Let's talk about how Danhausen has been utilized so much better in his short time in WWE than his entire time in AEW.
Just the fit in WWE is exactly what he needs as a character. And I told Ryan this that he's been featured on WWE television in the last more times in the last 3 months than he ever was in 3 years in AEW.
Which is crazy to think about, especially because when he debuted, people did not like it. They were not a fan of it.
Right.
And now he's like the most over guy in the company, and he's a top three merch seller.
Right. Exactly. The fit for Danhausen and WWE, I don't know how long this is going to last. It may not last the entire year. WWE fans are fickle. Yeah.
Absolute Danhausen.
But for right now, that Danhausen train is it's going, and they may as well just take advantage of it as long as it rides because it's going to come to an end. Trust me, it'll come to an end.
Because everything does. It's not just the case with Danhausen. We've seen this
Right.
before. You
Right.
know, somebody gets hyped up,
Jay
and after
Uso.
some time,
Jay
Jey
Uso.
Uso, Kofi Kingston.
Right. Yep. So, if a guy's hot, they might as well just, ride the train, ride the wave
Ride the
as
wave of
long.
momentum while you can,
Exactly.
and then pretty much run it till the wheels fall off.
Hmm. Yep. And then we'll see what happens with Danhausen after that. But right
Hopefully,
now, dude,
hopefully he's still at least on programming in some sort. Because Danhausen, he's great.
yeah, he is. I would hate for in the next couple years to see him be released.
Absolute ass.
Absolute ass.
You see how? Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah. Anyways, SmackDown, like I said, is just abysmal to watch. The gingerbread, to enlighten us about the gingerbread man stuff, because to be honest, it's not something that I've even wanted to tune into, and when I have, it's been
I
horrible.
actually did not watch that episode, but because I was working and I haven't
Hmm.
gotten a chance to go back to rewatch it.
Hmm.
Uh, but like okay, like I was fine with like the gingerbread man being like in terms of like oh it's making fun of Sammy. I'm fine with that part. But it got to a point where it's like oh come on, really like it became like the central point of the story. It's like oh come on,
A
like
funeral for it.
even though it's like I know you weren't a fan of Pat McAfee, but it's like damn, I would rather watch Pat McAfee get involved than the gingerbread man.
Hmm. Absolutely. Shit made no sense whatsoever. And it's not something we need to be associating Sami Zayn with. Sami Zayn, I mean, we could talk about him. I mean, his character is it's a slow build to a full-blown heel as possible right now. He's basically in the background, in the back, talking to guys like Johnny Gargano, talking about the old times where they used to wrestle and talking about how good it was and now things are different. The fans are different. Sami Zayn is just talking, he's really just low and down on himself about the way things are going. And, you could see it where it's going to turn into a full-blown heel turn, but they haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, and I also think this all will eventually lead to him winning, you know,
The US title?
a world
Oh,
championship.
the world title, the world title.
Yeah, I think long term, I think that's the end goal.
Hmm.
But also another thing, I don't think he's gonna win the WWE title as a heel. I think he's gonna do it as a babyface.
Think so?
Because it's like after all these years, they're gonna want to give him that feel good moment, and I feel like it would make sense if he did it as a babyface.
Right,
But I do see them doing a heel turn at some point because right now he's operating as a tweener.
right,
He's not a face, he's not a heel. It depends on who he's feeling. Like say if he's feuding with the heel, obviously he's gonna play the babyface. If he's
right.
feuding with the babyface or feuding with the heel that's over, like Trick, he's gonna be portrayed more as the heel.
Hmm. And Trick is massively over right now.
Yeah. And what's crazy is Trick also still technically isn't a babyface. He's still technically a heel.
You think so? Is he still a heel?
I think so.
I mean, they didn't have a
Or
full-blown.
actually, he might be like Sammy. I think he's a tweener right
Yeah, they
now.
didn't have a full-blown heel turn with him as well. It just gradually happened.
Yeah, he's
He's
a
coming.
tweener. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a tweener right now. But yeah, because they went to his home, Greensboro, South Carolina, and boy, he was. I think that's probably the loudest reaction he's gotten so far.
Yeah. The whoop those tricks.
They even had like signs that said "whoop that trick,"
Yeah.
and they brought out a cocky, the South Carolina mascot, which in this case was okay. In this case, it was
Right.
understandable to have the mascot.
Right. Just no more gingerbread stuff, please.
Well,
No more.
Danhausen got the gingerbread costume, so maybe Danhausen's resurrecting him.
Oh my gosh, please. No more gingerbread man stuff.
Gingerbread Hausen.
Gingerbread housing. if he does that, then I'm gonna put a curse on Danhausen.
There's rumors that he's reviving somebody. I don't know how true this is. This is just stuff I've seen. It's all speculation, but there's speculation and rumors that Baron Corbin is coming back to WWE,
Baron
and that
Corbin,
whatever this Danhausen stuff that he's doing right
yeah.
now will eventually lead to it being Baron Corbin.
How the hell? Why would anybody want to see Baron Corbin back on WWE television? That is the last guy
But
that I think.
also, it comes from Dave Meltzer, which is why it says I don't really believe it because I don't trust anything the dirt sheets say anymore.
True,
But
true.
I just heard like, oh, it's been discussed. It's just like, well, I mean, a lot of people have been discussed for returns, but then how many times did they actually return?
Right,
It's like very rare.
right. Now look, but that's the last guy. I think of Baron Corbin and I think of 2019 Monday Night Raw, like god awful television. I think of the King Corbin stuff. That
Happy Corbin,
crap, yeah, Happy Corbin, broke ass Corbin. Who wants to see into that in 2026?
Matt, and then Madcap Moss.
Madcap Moss.
But yeah, so anyway, that's SmackDown. There really isn't much to talk about on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But Raw was interesting because Obafemi came out for his open challenge and Brock Lesnar came back and attacked him, and they're running it back to
Beast is
Clash in
back.
Italy, which I'm not a fan of because it's like, then what was the whole point of Brock putting Oba over and then
Right.
leaving his boots and stuff in the ring if they're just gonna run it back? Because I think it's pretty obvious Brock's getting the win at Clash.
You think so?
I mean, unless he loses, and then it's just like, oh, but then it's like, well, I don't think they're doing Brock and Gunther.
I think that they're going to do a trilogy on this. If I were booking this, and it's, look, we all kind of knew that Brock Lesnar, even though he was retired, he wasn't really retired. There was going to be some kind of payday for him to come back. But with Brock Lesnar being back now, and he's again in a feud with Obafemi, I think what happens is, and this is probably the best way they could book this, is that in the second match, it's a non-finish. Maybe both guys are just beating the fuck out of each other, and
Like it ends in a draw.
it's a carnage. It's war out there. And it ends in a draw where both guys either get counted out, can't get up, and the match is stopped. The third match, which is what's the next pay-per-view after this?
Well, I think there's another, but I think they'd probably hold it off till SummerSlam
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's in Minneapolis,
It's in
which is where
Minneapolis.
Brock is
If
from.
they played it right, then yeah. Because wait, do they have a match at Clash of Italy?
Yep, it's confirmed.
So then you're gonna wait what,
It's on the card. It's officially on the card.
so you're gonna wait what, like 2, 3 months till
Let me,
SummerSlam?
yeah, let me see. I'm looking up the schedule.
Are you really? Because SummerSlam isn't what till August?
Unless they do a match before then, and then they end up doing Gunther Brock. But again, I don't think Brock wants Gunther.
Here's what I think what's gonna happen. The second match here at Clash of Italy, it's it's a draw. The third match, wherever it is, it could be Saudi Arabia, because I think that might be Crown Jewel. Are they going back to Crown Jewel?
Yes, which I think it'll be Night of Champions.
I think that's gonna be in July or June.
Night of Champions is June 27th.
All right, so in June. All
So
right,
so you're saying they do the third match at Night of Champions in Saudi
do the third
Arabia?
match, Saudi Arabia. That's Brock's farewell, or that could be not his farewell, but that's going to be the farewell of that's going to be the culmination of this program. You have Brock Lesnar again do the honors to Oba. Oba gets the big victory, and then Oba could then challenge Roman at SummerSlam for the world title.
Yeah. But then another thing about Night of Champions is like if they're doing King and Queen of the Ring,
They're not.
how would
They would have already announced it.
or you know what an interesting thing if this is hypothetical if they do King of the Ring. What if it ends up being Brock and Oba for the King of the Ring?
I don't think so. You don't need that. You don't need that. Dude, this program, which they're gonna head into, they, I think Brock Lesnar wanted to retire at WrestleMania, but they're like, no, there's
TKO
a lot
said no.
more. there's a lot more meat on the bone they can do in terms of getting Oba ready for the world title. And that program is it's basically what Triple H did for Batista in 2005. If you remember, 2005 WrestleMania 21, Triple H put over Batista in the main event of WrestleMania for the world title. The next pay-per-view, Backlash.
Backlash.
Put over Batista again for the world title. And then the third match, Hell in a Cell at Vengeance, again, Triple H lost. So he lost 3 straight matches to Batista in 2005. Did not hurt Triple H whatsoever.
Was it like in a row, or was there a break
In
in
a
between the
row.
matches?
In a row.
Oh, it was those three. It was those three pay-per-views back to back to back.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. They were staggered out a little bit because back then they had Raw pay-per-views, Smackdown pay-per-views. Um, they're staggered out a little bit. I think it went from WrestleMania till about July-ish around there or June. But anyways, 3 straight pay-per-views, Triple H lost. And he lost in that Hell in a Cell. And so that would be a good one too. Hell in a Cell, Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. Not as champions.
Oh, I just got some breaking news we can talk about in a second.
What's that? Go ahead, break it.
Mick Foley is all elite.
Mick Foley, all
He's
elite.
making his AEW debut this Sunday at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view.
Where's that from? Where are you reading it from?
It's well, Tony Khan announced it.
Oh wow, so it's officially official. It's not surprising. Mick Foley denounced WWE over their relationship with President Donald Trump. So I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, I'm sneezing because I said Trump. I need to get that out of there. Mick Foley is, obviously he's a Democrat. He's very liberal. Denounced WWE off of their relationship from Donald Trump. The big man's obviously Linda McMahon she holds a position in the White House. I think it's like Secretary of Education or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And Triple H holds a position as well. And obviously the McMahon family has donated a lot of money to the Trump campaign. But Mick Foley has denounced WWE and he said he was going to let his WWE contract Legends deal run out because of their affiliation with President Donald Trump. And so, not surprising. And I think, as long as it's just a very minimal role for Mick Foley in AEW, I'm looking forward to a promo battle between him and MJF. That'd be great.
Who? Mick Foley and
MJF, not in
MJF.
the match, just a promo battle.
Yeah, well, because I think a lot of people, Mick Foley was pretty underrated when it came to
Oh my God, he
promo
was
building.
great. Yeah,
I mean, he's not like an all-time great, but it's like he could hold his own.
right,
He wouldn't like, and then even if he did get like, flustered, he was able to like pick himself back up.
right, exactly. Yeah, what do you think about Mick Foley in AEW?
I mean, it's not surprising because we've seen a lot of legends before go to AEW, even if they're not like, you know, like a full-time talent with AEW. Like Billy Gunn, for example, he still has a Legends contract with WWE, but he's in AEW.
Right, right,
So it's like I don't think Mick Foley's going to be like, oh, like we'll see him every week or every pay-per-view. I think like, oh, maybe every now and then
right,
we see him. Do I
right.
think he wrestles a match? He might.
I don't think so. I mean,
He
his body
might.
is way too beat up. He's old, way too beat up for that. I mean, Mick Foley was training actually for one last match. This is last year. He
But it
was
wasn't
training.
even for a WWE and
No,
wasn't it for like an indie promotion?
it was like he wanted one last like hardcore match or like death match or whatever it was. But in the training of that, suffered a concussion and he was like, "Oh no, I can't do this." So yeah, he won't wrestle a match for AEW, but he'll be a good asset for them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially like with his merch. I mean, I feel like his merch will sell a lot of people, like Mick Foley. He's very over with the crowd. He's very popular, so
Hmm.
he's and in terms of the legends, he's probably one of the more popular legends.
And Tony Khan treats the legends with absolute respect. I mean, look at the way he's treated Sting. I mean, they roll out the red carpet for Sting every single step of the way. So, it won't be any different for Mick Foley in that regard, and it'll be good to see him back on television.
So, but yeah, no, I literally just saw that. I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw it. So,
Nice.
and it says per Tony Khan.
Per Tony Khan.
So it's not like oh some dirt she was reporting. It's like no, Tony Khan himself actually announced it.
Oh, more breaking news. Tony Khan has bought Lace 'em Up Sports.
Hmm.
I'm joking. No. But yeah,
No way you'd sell. There's no way you would sell your soul for that for
yes, I
that.
would. Absolutely, I would. 100%.
Then it'll be like Dan Housen, absolute ass.
Oh my gosh. I would definitely get that payday. Um, Now, yeah, and then we can recap what's been going on with the Samoans on Raw.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing going on right now because, well, whoa, we saw Jacob Fatu take out literally the Usos and Roman by himself,
Right.
and then they got the upper hand, and now we're getting tribal combat at Clash in Italy with Roman and Jacob, which hopefully will be a good match because the last two tribal combat matches we had were not so good.
Now look, do they take the title off of Roman Reigns so early still? My best bet, gun to head, is no, that Roman Reigns retains in tribal combat somehow, some way. I can't see
Yeah,
them.
even if this is where I could see like a screwy finish happening. Um, Whether like the Usos get involved or something gets involved, I could see a screwy finish
Yeah.
where Jacob is like, "Oh, see, you couldn't beat me cleanly again," and then we do get a third match inevitably.
Hmm.
Um, but do I see them taking the title off Roman? No.
No.
Do I want them to take it off Roman? Yes, because I do think Jacob deserves it, but
It
they're
would
not
be
going to do it
interesting.
against Roman.
Kind of like
Like
the
say
Gunther thing.
say say if it was Jacob and Punk, I could see Jacob taking it off of Punk.
Yeah, for sure.
I could see if it was anybody but Roman, I could see Jacob winning the title if it literally was on anybody else.
Hmm. But I think with it's kind of like the Gunther thing on SmackDown. Do they want to shake it up that much? Um, to be noted that Roman Reigns is not going to be appearing on WWE television through July, and so
Yeah, because he is confirmed through June, but they switched his dates around because I think there was some like clerical error. So
Mhm.
he will be around in June, but I think he has different dates in June now
Right,
compared to what they were before.
yeah. But overall, how do you think this program has been going between Roman and Jacob?
I mean, it's kind of just copy and paste of what happened with Jay and Roman.
Right,
Like the only difference being is Jacob is like so unhinged to the point where everybody's like, no, you cannot go through with this. No. Like this man is dangerous. Like you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
and
And
Roman
it's
being a cocky
interesting.
bastard is like,
Yeah,
I got this.
yeah, it's interesting, but also at the same time, it's just like here the Usos are again being Roman's little bitches.
Yeah, what's up? So, dude,
After
we have
literally Roman,
absolute.
after they established like, hey, we're gonna be with you, but we're not taking orders from you anymore.
I don't understand this. So we went through years of the Usos taking punishment from Roman, turning on Roman, becoming a world
Is
champion,
yeah,
babyface, totally separating themselves. It's just me, Us, and
and
now
now
we're
and
back
now it's
to
like they're right back to where they were before.
right, just
And it,
lackeys.
yeah, and this is what and this is why I say the bloodline story. There's literally no story with the bloodline. It's just like oh we're blood, we're family. Oh there's someone in the family that doesn't want to acknowledge me. Okay, fine, I'll make him acknowledge me, and then he'll join us. It's literally the same crap every week with the bloodline.
Right.
There's nothing new, nothing.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the most disappointing part because look at the original Bloodline was amazing. Was amazing. The best thing WWE television has seen in a decade. But they're trying to retread this, Bloodline thing. Are they even calling themselves Bloodline right now? Because I feel
They're
like they're
called the
not.
first family
The
now,
first family, but who
which is
cares?
so dumb.
Yeah, they're the Bloodline. It's always going to be the Bloodline. And
Is it crazy for me to say that I found the Bloodline the most entertaining when it had Sami Zayn as the honorary Uce?
right, right.
That,
No,
in my opinion, I felt that's when they were at their most entertaining.
I 100% agree with you in the sense that that was their peak right there. With Sami Zayn was the honorary Uce. But, you know, I digress on that. The only thing I'm saying here is that, you know, for WWE, for Raw to just get back into a position where the storylines are, are compelling television, you can't have retread of what we saw from 2, 3 years ago. You need to
And
have fresh, new developing
and
storylines.
you want to know something that's been lacking on Raw? That was one of the better parts of Raw.
Hmm.
CM Punk.
Right? Yeah, Punk's been off
CM Punk.
television.
He's been
But
off
he's obviously
television,
taking time off, but he'll come back.
which is well deserved. But
Right.
you know what's crazy is I've been seeing people commenting, everyone like, "Oh, I miss World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk." It's like, see, y'all were begging for Roman, and now that he's champ. Oh, I want Punk as champion again.
Right. Well, Punk's obviously taking time off, and when he does come back, he's probably going to be on the SmackDown
I feel
roster.
like it would be best if he goes to SmackDown
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
because
can see.
they've already teased him versus Cody.
Right. Exactly. And Raw's
And
Roman
then
Reigns show.
I just saw something. Somebody brought up an interesting point.
Yeah.
The last time Punk left after the Raw after Mania, he was a heel and then he came back as a babyface. So people are saying he left the Raw after Mania as a babyface. What if he comes back as a heel? I don't think he's going to, but I felt that was an interesting point.
I mean, it's all possible, but who would a heel Punk even
Cody, a
Cody?
babyface Cody.
True. Yeah. That's only for the world title or the WWE title. If they're gonna do that, you can't have that.
Plus, I feel like Punk is at a point where I don't think I don't think he wants the heel run.
I don't think you can't have that match and not have it be for the world title. Sorry, the WWE title. Like you can't have Gunther being WWE champion and then also pivoting to Punk and Cody. Like that's
Plus, yeah. Plus, we've already seen Punk and Gunther.
right. So we'll see. I mean, they could possibly run that back for the WWE championship. In fact, I can honestly really see that happening like at Clash of Italy if Gunther were to win the title. You know how Triple H likes to have surprise appearances at the end of somebody's winning their match or end of a pay-per-view. CM Punk comes back to confront Gunther. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah. I just saw something that there's MJF talking out of his ass again.
I was gonna mention that. Well, he's not talking out of his ass.
Well, he says AEW would sell at Madison Square Garden.
They would. Absolutely would.
Anybody would sell at Madison. It's Madison Square Garden.
No, not anybody would.
But then somebody just made a comment, be like MJF not even consistently selling out AEW, which is true.
Well, yeah.
Trust me, MJF's not this draw he thinks he is. He's not.
Now look, look.
MJF's peak was his feud with Punk.
That's absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. You are 100% wrong on that one. MJF's peak is right now. That is his peak, and his peak is going to be the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. MJF. I haven't seen the full interview yet. I don't think it's been released, and maybe it has been released. But he was on Ariel Helwani's show. And I've seen some clips about him talking about him taking great pride on never going to WWE, which I will say
He's
at
going
some
to
point,
eventually. We all
at
know
some
he's
point,
going to.
he will.
He has
He
said
will.
it. He has said it before that he's going to.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Now, I will give him credit in this. It does not, he had that the war for 24 whatever he wanted to call it
The
in terms
bidding
of
war of
the
2024.
bidding war of 2024, right? It would not have made sense for him to sign with WWE back then because there was so much unfinished business for him in AEW at that point. In AEW,
Especially with the whole
could not
whole, yeah.
Tony Khan, AEW could not have afforded to lose MJF during that time because they were coming off of Brawl Out. They're coming off of losing CM Punk. They're coming off of being embarrassed during that moment in time, and so they could not afford it to lose MJF to WWE. MJF is the heart and soul of he is the man of AEW. The heart and soul really is Darby Allin. But in terms of the numbers and the buy rates and the man leading the way, that is MJF. He is the man in AEW, and he's really the guy that's the main event in AEW. He'll never be on the anything lower than the mid card or anything lower of the main event in AEW again. This guy is the main event. He's going to be the main event for the next 10 years. And he's the guy leading the way. I will say that there will come a point in time where him coming to WWE, I could totally see it still. After his contract runs out with AEW, it's going to be really, really interesting to see if he stays loyal to Tony Khan and AEW or he jumps ship to WWE because I can see WWE throwing a lot of money at him. I could see WWE offering him basically the Cody role, the Punk role, where he's in as the guy of the company and leading the way to multiple WrestleMania main events. He says that a lot of guys want to go in there and get their WrestleMania main event. And he said that it's something that he doesn't really care about. He cares about his legacy in AEW, but I guarantee you that he does care about that stuff. He wants to have that spot in WWE. He wants to prove to himself that he has that spot in WWE, and I think he ultimately will. It's just not right now, you know.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, right.
But anyways, where were we at?
But we can transition into AEW. They're basically they're loading up for Double or Nothing, the big match between MJF and Darby Allin. Allin being the reigning defending AEW World Champion, won it by surprise last month on a Dynamite taping. Yeah, and Darby Allin has really just been defending the title left and right, and the whole storyline right now is all these matches kind of just costing or catching up to Darby Allin, and where he's not going to be able to be 100% going into his match, the hair versus title match at Double or Nothing. There's no shot that I think 100% MJF not retains, so gets back the title for the third time, and we don't have to see that, the big sexy Hebrew bald.
Yeah, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing about the stipulation of the matches. It pretty much kind of tells you who's going to win.
Right,
But that's not just in AEW. That's a wrestling problem because we've seen it in WWE too, where stipulation basically like spoils like who's going to win.
right,
Especially when it's like the whole like, oh, like if I can't beat you, then my career is over. Then it's like, okay, obviously the person whose career is on the line is obviously winning.
right. Yeah. Yeah, so I think MJF is gonna get back the title, and we'll see if Darby Allin can, he's gonna challenge for the title, but even get back to being world champion. It'll be interesting to see because
This might be his like only run with it, his Cinderella
right,
run.
exactly. Yeah, we'll see. But off of AEW, I did want to ask you, one last thing about the John Cena Invitational or whatever they're calling
John
it,
Cena Classic.
the Classic. Explain to us, because I'm still a little confused on what this
They're still
tournament is about.
finalizing the details. Everything's still not set in stone. The rumors that it's going to take place in December around the time of his retirement match. There's going to be exhibition matches, and he says it sounds like it could potentially be WWE's All Star Game,
Hmm.
which I think is actually an interesting concept because then it's like it gives a chance to showcase those who may not get a lot of TV time, and to really like just showcase their abilities, which I think is cool because I feel like there's a lot of talent that are not being utilized correctly, and I feel like this is a chance for them to show what they're made of.
Yeah,
And maybe the fans love them so much to the point where the fans are like, "We want more of this person."
right. I think it's something that, obviously John Cena has said that they haven't fully fleshed out yet. They're still coming up with ideas on how to execute this thing. It's a good idea in practice, but hopefully they can execute and find a way to make this thing work.
I know the thing that people are most concerned about is the whole like fan voting concept
Yeah.
because they're just like, how are you gonna do that without them not wanting to like rig it or whatever?
Well, they did. So going back,
Because
WWE
they
has
did
done this
it was
many
Taboo
times.
Tuesday, right?
They've done this many, many times with Taboo Tuesday. Then it was Cyber Sunday. Basically, now from all accounts, I don't know if you've heard this. From all accounts, people have said, wrestlers have said, people backstage have said that the fan voting was actually true. That they took the fan voting for what it was and applied it to the matches. Now, Would they do it this time like that? I don't think so. I can't see them doing that though again. I can't see them actually listening to the fans and persuading these matches to go the way they're supposed to go. If it was
Unless it's
truly
really,
up,
unless it's really just like, okay, these don't mean anything for storyline. These
and
like
I
these
don't think
aren't.
so.
It's
Yeah,
good unless they do it like, oh, this isn't canon to like the main WWE. Like it's its own separate thing.
right.
If it's
Uh,
like that, then I could see the fans being involved. Where it's like, no, it's this is it. Like there's nothing. It's not connected to anything else but this.
right. And then the only thing is like also is that John Cena said that there's going to be championships coming out from this. Is it going to be like the Crown Jewel Championship where you don't
That's
see
what
it?
I could see. I could see it being a Crown Jewel Championship or like for instance, Braun Strowman is still the greatest Royal Rumble
Greatest Royal Rumble
champion
champion, yeah, hasn't defended it at
in what,
all.
8 years,
8 year, yeah,
however long it's
will
been.
never defend it.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
one of those things. Is it going to be one of those titles that's never going to be defended, or is it going to be one of those titles be like, no, it will be defended?
right,
You know, kind of how like the Speed Championship wasn't defended until it became a thing on NXT,
right,
and then they just did away with it
right,
because it was stupid.
right, exactly,
Is like it's one of those things like if there is a championship, I don't think we're gonna see it on TV. I don't think it's gonna
right,
be defended as like a legitimate championship.
right,
I don't think it's gonna count as like part of their act. Well, I mean it'll count as part of their accolades, but it's not gonna count like, oh, like Grand Slam champ or whatever. No, it's not gonna count like in that sense.
no, but we'll see
I
how they
do think
execute.
it's a really cool idea, and I really do hope it works out. I know a lot of people are like shitting on it, but it's like it's a unique concept, and I do think it has potential to be, interesting, and and who knows, maybe like they do it this year and they see what works, what doesn't, and then when they do it again next year, it's like they change things around.
Right, obviously
So
there's going to be
I
some.
do think, and I hope it works. I want it to work.
There's gonna be some trial and error with this thing, but if they can get it to a point where people actually are invested in it, then that's the whole point. That's what they want to work from it, you know. And if it's a thing where people are actually having competitive matches, now you could vote for I guess like the MVP of the tournament. You could vote for if they can have like things where fans vote for it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense with winning and losing not really being a factor, but again, they're gonna have to flush through all of this to make it make sense. But if they can have a thing where, like, hey, look, so and so wins the MVP, and so has the best match, and so has this and that, then I think that's what you want to see from it. Kind of like an all-star game type.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out. I'm also excited to see like who's gonna be participating because it's also making me wonder, are you gonna have a men's bracket and a women's bracket?
Yeah, we'll see.
Because we don't know that.
Yeah, no,
So I
there's
think
gonna
it'd
be
be kind
no
of interesting.
intergender matches here.
Yeah, it makes me think like, are we gonna have a men's bracket and we're gonna have a women's bracket?
Yeah,
Will
absolutely.
there be intergender matches? Probably not, but
Yeah, we'll see. But all right, any lasting words, Ryan, before we get out of here?
uh I mean let's just hope, WWE starts doing better creatively. Because especially on SmackDown needs a lot of work, a lot of help.
Mhm.
Especially if they are trying to rebuild this tag division. But from what I've heard, they're not interested in signing outside tag teams. It's
Yeah,
like, so you want to rebuild your division, but you don't want to sign other tag teams.
I don't know how they're gonna do that, to
Then
be honest.
that really
Besides,
makes like no
besides
sense.
putting makeshift teams together, I mean, let's remind you who the tag team champions are on SmackDown.
The WWE tag team champions are R-Truth and Damian
Right.
Priest.
Same.
Now, unless they do it where it's like they re-sign like some of these tag teams, but then it's like, well, then what was the point? Why'd you release them in the first place then?
Exactly. Then
And
they're
then
not.
you're gonna have these teams to be like, why would I want to come back if you released us and then you want us to take a pay cut? Why should we come back?
And then also, like, you can't trust them to build up the tag team division when maybe they're going to be interested in it for 2 months, but then out of the rainy year, they're just going to not focus on it. Like, if you're going to focus on it, you got to go all hands in.
Because look at it, well, like the only legitimate tag team, one of the only legitimate tag teams we have in the entire company is the Street Profits.
Right.
Like legitimate tag teams.
Right.
That don't stay the vision. They're not a legitimate tag
But
team because we all know they're
the
gonna break up at
Street
some point.
Profits are on Monday Night Raw right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Street Profits
SmackDown.
should win the World Tag Titles.
Mm. SmackDown will also be going back to 2 hours starting next month. That'll give the show a little bit of a breather. As opposed to the 3 hour format.
Hopefully that helps it.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see because SmackDown needs a lot of help. Raw's kind of carrying the main roster right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But even then, the last couple Raws have been kind of meh.
Right.
So right now it's kind of Raw and SmackDown are both kind of in a bad state.
Right. But all right, Ryan. We're gonna end today's podcast on that note. Again, you guys can follow us on all of our social medias at Lace 'em Up Sports, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, X, all of it, MySpace, AOL. You can find all of us on there. Go ahead, you can stalk Ryan's home personal address if you may. Send him love letters.
Do it to Mike.
Send him nudes. Whatever you need to do. But all right. We'll see you guys on another one. Thank you for joining us. And then, we'll end it the way we always end it. You can't see us.
See us until next time.
See you.